So after the post-op follow-up surgery with the doctor and him telling me I'm healed, getting me in the boot, all of that good stuff, he referred me to a physical therapist and told me, see him for at least 1 or 2 sessions. Figure out what exercises you need to do, and then you can do those on your own. I was like, cool. But this is where I want a lot of you guys to hear me and hear me good with this. So when I got home and thought about it some more and really inviting the Lord into this decision, because now that I've been told I'm healed and all, I don't want to take advantage of that. I still have work to do. I'm far from the other processes of getting myself sturdy and strong on my feet. So, Lord, what do you have me do in this decision? So the very next day, I called, made my first appointment to meet with a physical therapist. But the decision that I made was that I was not going to see this therapist for 1 to 2 sessions. I was going to see them as long as I could. And that decision actually was made after the first session. When I met with the therapist, he did a lot of tests and assessments, and that allowed me to see that how am I going to be able to know that I'm improving if I only do 1 to 2 sessions? I'm not going to know if I've gotten any stronger. And the exercise that he gives me, please believe I'm going to do them, but I need some form of accountability on my end to know that I'm getting stronger, and I have somebody who's going to tell me, you need to do this instead of that. And as a fitness coach, we do the same thing. When you're working with clients, you work with them, you see their performance and all, but you also give them homework. And when the next time you meet with them, you know if they've done that homework or not. And so same thing applied for me, even in my profession. And I know that I'm going to be consistent with it. I still needed that accountability, and I need somebody to be with me to make sure that I do the work. And so that's what the decision was made finally after I had my first meet with a therapist. And the Lord was like, Crystal, continue on with this. And there's a reason why I'm going to have you continue on with this. So the therapist gave me the homework, and the exercises were exercises that I have my clients do. I was like, this is funny, it's ironic, but now I've got to do them, and I know why I have my clients do it, and I know why I have to do it. And they were hard for me because I'm coming now from a place where I haven't been able to move my body like I normally did prior to the incident. And so these exercises do, for example, 3 sets of 12 reps. And it will give a range. You can do 1 to 3 sets of 1 to 3 reps or whatever. Me, I was doing all 3 sets, and I was doing the max reps that were given on the homework. Not because I was trying to be, go all out with it. It's because I wanted to get better, and I wanted to get back on my feet, and I was willing to do whatever work that I needed to do to get myself to that place. And because I did that, it showed when it came time for the physical therapist to work with me. And the progression just continued to climb from there. I would walk in with both my crutches in my boot, and then it turned into 1 crutch in my boot. From there, it turned into bring your shoe in. And this is where the integral part changed, and the Lord spoke to me through the therapist. And this particular session, the therapist tells me to put on my shoe, and he was like, go ahead and walk. And I have 1 crutch on, and of course I'm a little hesitant as I'm walking, so he's watching my gait, watching how I'm walking, and observing all of those things. That entire session, he had me in my tennis shoe. That was my first time since January 3rd wearing a tennis shoe, and I was able to walk. So, however, before he had me do this next exercise, he noticed that I would lean on my left side as I would walk. And what he was trying to get me to do was not rely on that crutch and walk straight. And my hips over my feet, all of that, shoulders over the hips, all of that. And he was like, it's more of a mental thing than a physical thing, which is the same thing that I would tell my clients, but you hear it different when you're now in that spot and you have somebody else and you understand it so much clearer. And so he takes me over to do the exercise. I do the exercise and he shows me, this is how I want you to walk. This is what you need to do. Once I finish that exercise, he walks around me and in front of me and stands a few feet away. He was like, now I want you to keep your crutch, but I don't want you to lean on it and walk the way I just showed you how to walk. And I start walking towards him and I could feel the difference. And I literally am walking, bearing weight on in my tennis shoe. And as I'm walking towards him, my eyes welled up with tears. And that's joy, complete joy that I feel in me. And I said, I apologize. You know, I don't want you to think that I'm in pain or anything. I've just come a long way. And for me to be able to stand on both feet and be able to actually walk, it says a lot. And again, in my heart and in my mind, I'm hearing that doctor say, you are healed. So he takes me over to the treadmill and I start walking on the treadmill like 0.8, y'all, 0.8. But I'm walking and I'm happy with that. And the therapist asked, hey, so what do you have going on for the rest of the day? And I was like, you know, I think I'm going to read some books and all, and then I'm going to spend time with my family. And he said, what kind of books do you read? And I used to read a lot of books when I was younger, before kids. I love imagining things and increasing my vocabulary, all those good things. But as a mother now, my attention span, I'm just like, what? You know, and don't finish a book. But I started reading and I told him right now I'm into Christian-based books. And he was like, nice. And so he shares with me that he once went to a men's conference and it was a Christian-based conference and they had a guest speaker and they were talking over the topic RIM, an acronym called RIM, relationship, identity, and mission. And having a relationship with the Lord, knowing your identity and what the Lord, how the Lord sees you and your mission, the mission the Lord has called you here on earth for. And that this guest speaker, Father Burke Masters, how he wanted to be a professional baseball player for the Chicago Cubs. However, the Lord had different plans for him. And him becoming a professional baseball player never came to fruition, but what the Lord had for him in his pursuit to become a professional player turned him into relationship with the Lord and finding his mission and his identity and what the Lord called him to do on earth. And mind you, the therapist is telling me this while I'm on the treadmill and I'm just welding up with emotions. And he said, to make a long story short, Father Burke Masters ends up becoming the chaplain for the Chicago Cubs. He's on the field with the professionals. He is wearing the jersey, the uniform that the Cubs wear. And he said it wasn't his will that he had hoped for, his plans, but it was the Lord's plans. And even though they were totally different plans, the Lord still brought him full circle into the Chicago Cubs in a different way, because the Lord had plans in the way he wanted Father Masters to minister to these players. And it, again, heart open, my eyes, my ears, and I said, thank you, Lord. This is the decision that was made for me to continue on in these therapy sessions, for me to be at this moment, to hear this therapist sharing this story with me, to reaffirm everything that I'm going through right now is for a reason. And I'm going to end with the next part of everything within this testimony. Check it out.